Hello everyone, so I've got a new bit of tech to try out in the brewery today. It's the Inkbird Wi-Fi edition of the ITC 308, so temperature controller that I'm going to hook up to the brew fridge and just go through how you set it up, whether it's any good and so on. Now, full disclosure, I got sent this for free by Inkbird in exchange for doing this review, but I will review it as honestly and openly as I can. So that's it really, let's review it. Right, so let's get this out of the box and show you what is included in the package. Now, quite a few people have acquired these recently, so there's a few other reviews for this already up, so go and check those out. Stas Brewing I think has already got one up, and Brewboy Calabi as well, so I'll put some links up to those too. In the box, pretty straightforward. The main unit itself, and obviously you've got the temperature probe there, which I think according to the box has a 5-foot cord on it. The power sockets there for heating and cooling, which are marked properly this time. On the review for the other model of this that I did, they were just marked work 1 and work 2, so that's good that they're on there properly, and a decent length of cable on the 13 amp plug there. Then we've got some instructions. Now, shouldn't really need to worry about these too much because I'm assuming that this is going to be very easy to set up based on what I've seen from other people. So let's do what most men do when we are setting this up, bin those off and just try and wing it. Okay, so first things first, just got it plugged in. Make sure you get your heating and your cooling the right way around on the plug sockets, otherwise you will run into some pretty serious trouble with your fermentations. But it's just plug and play really, so set it all up. Remember to connect your temperature probe, which I haven't done yet as well, so that needs to go into the fridge, and then we can set up the Wi-Fi connection to it. Okay, so the temperature probe is now inside the fermentation fridge on the FV in there. You can still operate these manually using the same kind of control operations as with the usual 308s. So I'll just quickly make a couple of changes to that before I try and get it onto Wi-Fi. So I've been using these for quite a while, so I'm pretty familiar with these. So that's your target temperature, and then you've got the difference in temperature before the heating will kick in, difference in temperature before cooling will kick in. Can't remember what AH is for now. You've got oh no, so the AH was the alarm for high temperature, that's the alarm for low temperature. PT, can't remember what that is. I think that's calibration. And then this is the one that I want to change first of all, which is Fahrenheit or Celsius. So let's get it into a proper unit of measurement first of all. Sorry America, but yeah, Fahrenheit does not make any sense to me whatsoever. And then we can see what our target temperature is set to. So by default we've got it at 25 degrees. There's a lager in there at the moment, so let's just bring that down to 12 degrees, which is where I wanted it for the moment. And then we will press and hold to set that, and you can see that the temperature currently is 13 degrees, so with me opening and closing the fridge a bit, it's risen slightly but not too much, so that is now cooling and the fridge is switched on because I can hear the compressor running. Okay, so let's let's hook it up to the Wi-Fi now. Okay, so I've got the app downloaded here, and I have gone through the setup to connect the device to the Wi-Fi. I'm not going to lie, it didn't go completely smoothly at first, so I was trying to use the kind of quick connection method, and it picked up the device and wanted to register it and everything, but then it just sort of failed at the last minute, so it failed to connect it. So I ended up going through and doing it a different way using the AP mode, which is in the instructions. So I did have to read the instructions in the end, but it got there eventually. So I don't know whether that was something to do with my network or not, but yeah, the quick method didn't work for me straight away, but we got there in the end. Anyway, so here it is in the app, so you can see you've got this kind of app which is registered to my location, so it's got kind of local weather data and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, so pissing down with rain and cold at the moment, as you can see. And then if we click on the ITC 308, you can see the current state of the controller, which is at 11.8 degrees is the temperature reading, so it is heating currently until it gets to the target temperature, which is down the bottom there, so SV of 12. Now we want to go in and check some of the other settings that we've got here. So the heating and cooling difference values are 2 degrees, which is higher than I want them at the moment, so I'm going to put both of those to 0.5. Not really worried about the high and low temperature alarms, to be honest, because most of the time I'm not going to be here to hear that alarm anyway. I wonder if you get some sort of notification on the app if you hit those temperature values. Maybe you do. It does ask if you want to do push notifications when you install the app. So yeah, so it says in the instructions that the high and low temperature limiter alarm will be pushed to the mobile app. So actually that might be quite useful, but I'm not going to set those up right now. Refrigeration delay is a delay time for the compressor, so most people recommend that you set this to at least a few minutes, so that if your temperature is flip-flopping around, you're not going to burn out the compressor by switching the fridge on and off continuously. So I'll put that to 3 minutes. Temperature calibration, I haven't had a chance to calibrate it yet, as yeah, I haven't got anything to check the temperature against at the moment, but it seems to be reading in the right sort of region, because it's pretty close to the temperature it was before I swapped over the units. So there we go, that's it all set up. So once you've got it connected, that really is a doddle. So let's just see. So if we press the bottom bit there, we can change the temperature. So if we set it to 14 degrees, for example, sorry, that's a bad example, so that's not going to change the state at all, that's just going to keep it heating. If we change it to 9, it should put it into a cooling state, and yeah, the controller in the room has now switched into cooling and the fridge has switched on. So it's working, it's doing the job, really easy to set up, can't really complain, to be honest. Yeah, I'm a fan of these units anyway, but adding the Wi-Fi thing means that I can now, you know, check the temperature, and if I'm away from the house, make changes as needs be. You know, if you want to start a crash call or something, or heat it up to a diastole rest, or whatever you want to do, you don't need to be around to do that. Now we also have a temperature trend diagram here, which obviously there's not any data to fill that up, but you can see how the temperature's changed over time. I think this is something that other people have already mentioned on their videos, but the only thing that's glaringly obvious to me that would be useful is to have the facility to program temperature changes in via this. So the sort of thing that you can do on the other ITC controller that I already reviewed, that would be useful, and it shouldn't be too hard to add that into the software as part of a software update, I would imagine. Don't know whether they would need to upgrade the actual firmware on the device itself, but while we're in here in the settings, let's change the name of it to Brew Fridge. No option to put it in the shed there, so I won't bother putting it in a location. As you can see, it is also supported by third-party control apps like Alexa and Google Assistant. I don't actually use either of those myself, but if you are into that smart home control stuff, you can use them with that. But that's basically it for this, so yeah. Right, just a couple of final thoughts on that. So it's been running now for a couple of days, and all good so far. So the app works really well. You don't have to be on the same Wi-Fi network as the controller itself. So if you've got you know, mobile data network or whatever, you can access it away from home, as long as it's still connected to the Wi-Fi at home, obviously. Signal seems to work reasonably well, so I've got it in the sheds. The router is in the upstairs room in the back of the house, so it's not too far away, but it is outside of the house in the shed, so it's got reasonably good sort of signal reception on the unit itself, which is good. And as I said in the review earlier, you know, it was pretty easy to set up, aside from a couple of issues getting it actually connected to the Wi-Fi initially, although that may have been my fault, rushing into it without actually reading the instructions. As I said, as usually happens when you do that, you end up spending twice as long setting up if you do it wrong. So yeah, it got there. I got it onto the network. Once I'd done that, it was really easy, and some people might think it's a bit of a gimmick being able to control it off of your phone, but actually the app does make it a lot easier and quicker to adjust the settings on there than using the buttons on the front manually. So rather than having to hold the buttons down and click through all the menus, you can just access it, you know, quickly on your phone or whatever else you're using that app off of. So I think it's really good, and I'd recommend it, not just because I've been given one for free, but I, you know, genuinely do think it is worth the money for the extra features. But if you think it is a little bit expensive, but you want to get one, check out the link down below, and the discount code, which will be valid for the next I think 12 days maybe, the 23rd it runs up to. So grab yourself one quick, use that discount code, and help me to help you, and go via the link that's in the description below. So yeah, if you do get one, hope you get on well with it, and good luck with your brews.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me, you know? That, or his dudeness, or Duder, or, you know, El Duderino.